This is the Idlewild Disc Golf Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm JP.
And I'm Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
See, just one up us, huh? All right. As you can tell, we have a special guest. So Ben was driving or some other excuse. We'll give him a day off since he covered for us last week. And Bobby just so graciously, I texted him real quick and I said, hey, you want to be on a podcast in 20 minutes? He's like, I'll get set up. So
Yeah, I was
here
like,
he is.
let's do it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So I will go through the socials here, door_disc_golf and night_owl_pod. Those are our Instagram handles. Then we got doordisc.com where you can buy all your disc golf needs. And Bobby, go ahead, put them in there. Let's hear it.
Okay, you can follow me on Instagram, Cool Daddy Disc Golf. If you want to follow disc golf, you want to kind of follow my journey of what I got going on, follow me at Uncle Bobby Jr. Uncle Bobby Jr. is really the place you start because if you go Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, just search Uncle Bobby Jr. and you'll find everything I'm doing. And of course, all of that's been, as of late, all disc golf, which I'm loving.
Perfect. All right, so I think I'll start with my random question here real quick. If you were a fly on the wall, where and when would you want to be?
Me first or what?
Yeah,
for
sure.
me?
Go for it.
Oh, okay. If I were a fly on the wall, where it went? Oh, let's see. Gosh, I didn't even think about that. And I even knew it was coming. I would want to be a fly on the wall at the gym, the private gym that Dwayne The Rock Johnson has, and just see how intense he really is, and then just like watch and learn how to be intense. And then I'm sure he's got, of course, maybe during his workout, he probably tells people to leave him alone, but I would just love to see how he interacts with people and see if it really is the same behind the scenes as it is on camera. I just think he's a very charismatic, dynamic dude that has done a lot. And I think I would like to soak up that information and that knowledge.
For sure. Would it be really disappointing if he just like had someone spritz him with water and did like 2 or 3 sets?
I know.
Or 2 or 3 reps. It was just
would
out.
Would it be the old saying of you never want to meet your heroes? You
Yeah.
know? 'Cause
Yeah. Right.
Maybe I'd be like, oh man, it's all fake.
Scripted
Right.
like the WWE really is. Like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Of course, like even I was watching some YouTuber the other day where they said, hey, do you think The Rock does steroids? And he was like, of course he does steroids. And it's like, oh man, that kind of broke it down a little bit. Oh man, he cheats a little bit, but I mean, he's a big dude. But anyway,
You know, I think it's surprising how much steroids are used. I don't think it's I don't think it's if, it's just when someone used them.
Right.
And I don't think The Rock stands outside of that because you've seen his fanny pack and gold chain.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen that picture. That was
No, yeah.
You don't go from that to
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, I watched it. I don't know if you guys watched that show on Netflix called, I think it's just called Arnold, where it's just kind of the life of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And when they talked about, and it's really cool how they broke it down between his weightlift or bodybuilding, his acting, and then his political, all 3 careers. So it was 3-part series. But the one that bodybuilding, I mean, steroid. Yeah, you're right. Steroid was like a part of the whole process of being a bodybuilder was, oh yeah, we did steroids. So yeah.
All right, JP, steroids or just a fly on the wall?
Yeah, I'm not using any. I'm pretty spring beanie. I'm trying to keep my slender figure. No, for me, I don't think it depends on what team, but I'd love to be in a room when it's like trade season or anything's going down where you can hear the phone conversations or video conversations between teams and players that are on like the trade block, or like to get in there to see like, okay, how they come up with the packages of like who's going to be traded, how much salary is being moved, picks, whatever it is. Like that part is kind of fun for me to like be like, oh yeah, this player is worth this much, like moving numbers, moving figures, or just, I like those kind of dealings just to hear about them and figure them all out.
I bet you it's vicious, like just hardcore, like no feelings hurt, man. This is all business.
Sure.
You're going here, I'm trading you here, I'm doing this.
Mhm.
Nothing personal, strictly business. So yeah, it'd be crazy.
When you're dealing with that much money, like you
Oh,
can't. There's no friends.
no,
I,
yeah.
There was a Kevin Costner movie years ago. I forgot he was the GM for in the movie he was the GM for the Cleveland Browns, and he
is
was
it the
trying to
game?
yeah, maybe that's what it was. And it's all about him like calling all these GMs and stuff and making picks and moving picks and stuff. And
Mhm.
I was like, ooh, I haven't seen it, but like I've seen clips. I was like, yes, this is something that really interests me for whatever reason.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah,
What was the movie with Brad Pitt and
Moneyball.
Moneyball? Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah.
That was really good. So I would pick anywhere the Illuminati has in one of their meetings. For sure. Figure out why is the world the way it is, though. No, I think there's so many interesting people in the world, but so actually, Bobby, you brought this up, but I want to sit in a room with like someone like Jordan Peterson or Joe Rogan or something like that when they're not on camera and just see who they really are.
Right.
I feel like Joe Rogan is probably exactly who Joe Rogan
Yeah.
is, but like Jordan Peterson, because I know there's a lot of strife in the back end, because he's a really controversial individual.
Yeah.
And, it's talking about like the stuff that the Canadian government's like thinking about stripping him and like reprogramming him or like sending him to like these reprogramming. It's this weird stuff so he can keep his license and things.
Wow.
And I just want to see like the person behind all of that. Like, is he really as strong as he portrays, or is there like this weakness that all of us have,
Almost like how do they handle their day to day, and is it consistent with what they put out there?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think that would be fun not fun, more interesting, because I'm sure there would be some really intimate moments that you wouldn't necessarily, I don't know, you probably wouldn't get enjoyment out of, but you'd
Right.
probably learn a lot.
Yeah.
Probably learn a lot. So with learning a lot, why don't we start off, JP, with why you suck?
I always feel like that's such a personal question. Like, why do you suck? Let's see. Well, this week I didn't watch a lot of disc golf, and I didn't play a lot of disc golf, so that's one reason. I felt bad the other day because Dempsey Thursday night. Obviously, we have disc golf league, and I got home from like a pretty busy day at work. I had a lot of like heavy stuff I had to lug around for the postal service, and I was just like, I am way too tired to get out. And Dempsey ran home from the beach in the afternoon. He's like, Dad, I'm really ready to go. I was like, sorry, bud, not today.
Like,
my back's hurting a little bit, my arms, my shoulders not feeling that great, so we're just not gonna go. He's like, oh man. I was like, I'll make you a good dinner. How about that? Something,
There you go.
Yeah,
it's funny how with age you have those like they're legitimate excuses. You're like, man, I don't know if I can move anymore today, and kids just don't understand it. And like they're like, whatever, get up,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it gets sad. I hate being
But
old,
then they they can get like the slightest nick and they'll just like go down with in like a heap, that kind of thing, like double over and be like, ugh. Like he got punched in the stomach by his 4-year-old sister last night and he's just doubled over in pain.
Oh
I
my
was like,
god.
come on, she's 4 years old. Like,
Exactly.
it is what it is.
Like,
That's
suck it
too
up,
funny.
buttercup.
Yep.
Come on.
That's good.
All right, Bobby, let's hear it.
Okay, so tell me a little bit. So I can see it on my notes. Why do you suck? But tell me. I mean, I can think of a lot of reasons why I suck. But like, what's the context behind this?
So where this came from, believe it or not, so I listen to a lot of podcasts, but it came from a mountain bike podcast. And what they do is they go through why do you suck?
Yeah.
And what it is very much pertaining to the sport that they're in and what are they struggling with the most at the present moment. So it's, like they were talking about like, well, I can't get compression and the dampening right on my rear shock and, like stuff like that.
Okay.
So, for disc golf, I figured, we translate it into something. Why do you suck? And, primarily it's because I suck at putting or, I'm shanking it to the left or maybe I don't play enough or.
Why? Okay. So lately I would say, I've been getting out and doing some disc reviews for the YouTube channel for Clash Discs, and I don't get out to play as much. And I still get it's so frustrating, but I get so wrapped up in like thinking of every little piece of the throw that I'll screw up my throw. Like this time I'm
Mhm.
going to throw really hard. This time I'm going to worry about the power pocket. This time, and it's like, and then I'm like, dude, stop thinking so hard about it. Get out and practice it, and then let it flow when you actually go out. So I suck at
Yeah.
overthinking what I'm going to do on a specific hole or what I'm going to do with a specific disc, and then I forget everything, every other little component about a great drive. So
Mhm.
that's why I suck.
I feel like that's hard too because you want to do the disc justice,
Yeah.
like throwing it, and you're like, "Oh man, if I think about this and I try to do this," and then it's like, "Oh man, I just turned it over. Oh man, I just
Uh-huh.
like released it early." Whatever it is, and you're like, "No, I'm trying to show what this disc can actually do."
Exactly. Oh God, I don't know. I'm so glad I take 2 discs out there, and I'm so glad it's just by myself, so I if I have to do it 4 or 5 times. I mean, yeah, I'll admit it. I sometimes you see a couple throws, I probably thrown it 6, 7 times,
Oh.
just because I'm not used to throwing it, or it's early in the morning and I haven't warmed up yet, or something's wrong, and so yeah.
Mhm. Well, and it's funny when there's a camera there because I we did the few like for a while we were doing like little clips
Yeah.
of throwing and when there's a camera there, it's a different game. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to show you what the Strider is going to do. It goes into the dirt really well.
Right.
It's like
And then you're
can't
getting
post
mad and
that.
more mad. You're like, "Come
Yeah,
on, just do it."
yeah, exactly. And you feel like you're like, I got to throw it like Paul Macbeth or nobody's going to get anything out of it. And it's just
Exactly.
like, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then you got to start with the disclaimer like, I am a 920 rated player. And
Mhm.
so this is probably what the disc is going to do for everybody, just going to go left. And all right. Well, that's a good reason. So the reason I suck is actually, you know what? I'm going to turn this around this week.
Uh-oh.
So, JP, you weren't at League Thursday night.
No, I wasn't.
I had the absolute worst card at League. So
Oh
let me
no.
explain.
Oh.
Best people in the world. Worst card. I'm going to like humble brag a bit. I hit an ace. These were the reactions of my card mates. There's no way that was you. Those chains were too late. Second guy, nope, it chained out. Third guy was like, there's no way you hit an ace. Nobody said anything. And I'm
Not even
sitting
your
there,
teammate? Your own
not even my
teammate?
teammates, not
Oh
even
my
my teammate.
goodness.
My teammate was like, nah, I was a little late. It chained out. I was like, you guys suck. Like,
That sounds
so,
like Luke.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it was,
That's a call him out, but
so I had, I don't remember who I had, but anyways, but Caden was one of them. Caden was like, the epitome of like, I'm always happy. And he was like, no, there's no way that was an ace. I was like, then I come around the corner, sitting in the basket. I'm like,
what
you
hole was
guys
it?
suck.
Nice.
Hole 8 at
Nice.
Wildberry Fields. So it's a blind shot. It's a turnover, and it's just a putter turnover. So I just threw a judge. It's like what 230 or something like that. I mean, it's fairly short. Maybe it's just about 2, but it's like a high putter turnover. And I was just like, I threw it and I turned around and I put my like ear up and I was like, listen, it's gonna hit chains, and then just like chains deep. And they were like, and so I was like, so maybe I suck because I didn't like that was in and I should have ran to the basket, but I believed him because I was second one on the tee pad. So yeah, that's why I suck or they suck this week. So
That's hilarious.
all right. Well, let's talk about what we bought, thrower hangers or flippers. I'll go first. I finally got I bought 3 additional Heiser disc racks, and I finally got them. I'm going to do a little post about them, but I have a full set of 5 now, the stackable ones, and they're fantastic. They're I guess they're I don't know if they're throwers, but maybe they're hangers. but they go in the disc room and they look fantastic. I had this old beat up rack that I built out of like old house trim that I pulled out of a place we were remodeling, and I built it just kind of like pretty quick, and so it's nice to have something that actually looks good. And so, yep, that's what I bought.
Very nice. Very nice. I'll go next. I didn't buy it. I received it, but this is I was sent for to me from the factory in Finland, the class disc. But this is a early prototype for some effects that they're working on with the plastic and the colors. So this isn't the finished product, but they sent it to me to show me, say, hey, look what we're working on. And I have pictures they sent me too of other stages of it, but we are super excited about this. I don't want to call I mean, the best way to describe it to our to the listeners is it's basically like a halo effect. It's not quite on the outside the rim, and so
Mhm.
I'll what I'll have to do is I'll make a clip of this and I'll post it for and tag everybody so that people know what I'm talking about. But it's the best way to describe it is kind of the halo effect that you're seeing on a lot of discs, and yeah, they're
But
working
it's
on.
It's
it's
like
at the
Captain
edge of the
America's shield.
flight plate. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah,
That's
it's
kind
like
of what
we're
it
on the
looks like.
flight plate. Yeah.
Yeah, like a
Mhm.
double halo almost.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. So I'm not sure exactly when this is going to go live as far as having the finished product, but it's even look at that. That's just kind of
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
It's
this is going to be a hanger, one of those collectibles. It's like I remember when we first started on this
mm.
project.
What it reminds me of is kind of the old school, like super old school Prodigy. Was that the Prism plastic that they had for a little while? What was that called, JP?
Spectrum.
Spectrum. But it was before they called it Spectrum. They had a run of, this was back like even Katrina was there, but they had a run of team discs that were similar to that, but it went all the way through. Like it was really pretty, but some of the best discs that Prodigy ever produced, I think. But it's similar to that, but still it's different. It's a different effect than
Yeah,
anything I've ever seen.
yeah, it's cool. We're excited about it.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see. I think I don't remember if I talked about it. I didn't buy anything this week, but the last thing I bought was prototype cinnamon and a vanilla. Those were the last
Yeah.
two
From the shop.
Nice.
discs that I had purchased, and I've been testing them out still.
Mm-hmm.
And I like them both. The vanilla for me is a little more stable than I would have
That's what a
liked.
lot of people are saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cinnamon I think is great. Like if you are somebody whose arm speed is like right in that 9 speed area and looking for something, slightly understable, stable to understable, it's a good disc.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of competing with another disc in my bag, but I'm testing them both out and seeing which one I prefer more.
Yeah. I went out the other day and I was doing or I'd done the review of vanilla, and I remember throwing it, and I remember it going nice and flat for me, and I was like, "Yes, I really like this. I really like this." And then I was going out to do a test of a vanilla versus wild honey just to see the difference, and I couldn't get the vanilla to stand up, and I was like, "What is going on? What is?" And then all of a sudden, I realized I was throwing into a headwind when I could get it to flip up. I was throwing in a tailwind. I was like, "Okay, okay, that makes sense." So yeah, it was like the vanilla isn't as understable as I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great disc, great, still flies really well, but I like it for the headwind throws because it's not going to flip over for me. Where like a wild honey
Hmm.
might flip over for me
Right.
on a pretty good headwind. So that's what I love how they're fitting into my bag.
Yeah. And see, I I got, because I bought one like as soon as you launched your store, I bought one of the vanillas.
Yeah,
And I loved it. Like it slotted immediately into my bag, and it is one of my primary distance drivers.
nice.
I think it fits. The Grace is by far one of my favorite drivers, and I think it fits right in between like a Grace and a Wild Honey, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it still has some turn. Like, oh, I can get it to stand up and turn,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always reliable and finishes. And I've beaten it up pretty good now. Like I've been throwing it pretty regularly, and it doesn't. I mean, it had like Clash Plastic just has this good memory, I guess. I don't know. There's a resilience in this plastic that it's really really good. But between the cinnamon and the honey, both of them are in my bag right now, and I'm really liking them.
Nice.
So. All right. Well, let's get into the preview of the show. That would be on for 20 minutes. Let's see. So we'll do. We're going to talk a little bit with Bobby and just talk with him about what he's doing and how things are going with Clash, and get a little into DeGam as well. We're going to go over Idlewild, and then we're going to do our DGLO picks, and then we'll talk a little bit about DGLO, and then we'll get into Ben's random question, but it will be Bobby's random question this time, and we have no clue what it is. And then we'll do some shop updates, which we don't have any really exciting stuff because I haven't bought anything. So with that being said, we'll go back up. So Bobby, What's new with you? Tell us what's going on.
Okay, so what's new with me? So, as you mentioned, I opened a class only online retail store, CoolDaddyDiscGolf.com. At first, I had opened up a misprint store. I talked to Class Disc, and during one of our meetings, they said, "You have a lot of misprints just kind of sitting around." I was like, "Send them to me. Just send them
Hmm.
to me. I'll see what I can do. I'll get a shop open." So, I did the whole Shopify thing and figured it all out. And then I started telling them, "Hey, I'd like to get a shop going as well." And so they started sending me discs and for a shop. But then now I'm transitioning to concentrating on more in the wholesale side because what I was noticing is I was doing the Instagram for them and the other social medias, which stores would reach out and say, "Hey, I want to have class discs in my store, um, but I'm not a big store. How do I? But I want to order straight from class." And of course, ordering it straight from Finland just makes it very cost prohibitive as far as the currency exchange and the custom fees and all that stuff. And so the order size was really large to be able to even make it worth it as far as margins. So I would send them to and say, "Hey, go to Infinite, go to Power Grip. They're helping people out and stuff like that." But I would still have some stores that say, "You know what? I I'm not a big store, or I just want to restock a few class discs because it's doing well, but I'm not ready to place another big order." So I thought, well, that maybe that's a niche that I could fill as I do other things for class discs. So that's what I decided to do. So I've been reaching out to stores and saying, "Hey, if you just minimum $100 order, if you just want to start out, try some class discs. I'd love to provide that for you. Or if you've got, you're selling out of one mold, you just want a quick refill, restock. I'm there for you. I'll quickly restock you, send you a few discs, and make sure that you got a nice selection of class discs on you." And so far, it's going really good. I've got some connections with some stores. I've had some stores place some orders, and so that's kind of the what's going on the class disc front. And then, of course, I'm building as I mentioned before, my YouTube channel. I'm doing a bunch of disc reviews. That way, more awareness for class discs. Of course, we have James Proctor, Erica Stinscombe, and Eric Oakley, and a few others making videos. But I know from my experience at Dynamic Disc, a lot of the average guys, the casual players, really appreciate watching somebody that's not a top pro. They love seeing the top pros throw it,
Hmm.
but they also can relate much more with somebody that just is a casual disc golfer. So that's why I'm creating the content. And I know earlier we talked about the frustration, but it really is a fun part of what I'm doing. I have a lot of fun doing that. So
It's
that's
that closet watch. You don't want to actually show people you're watching some good dude that throws
right,
about the same as you,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
you're like, all right, I think this will work.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some people actually message me and say, "Hey, I loved watching Eric and Jimmy Proctor, but it wasn't until I saw you throw it that I thought, okay, maybe that disc is something I could throw. I could actually throw
Yeah.
that disc." So I actually appreciate all those messages because then it kind of helps me realize, yes, this is very helpful, even though I have I don't want to say I have no business doing reviews, but I mean it's just, even though I don't have the reach that they do, I still think people will discover the videos and see that they can actually throw a disc that we make and not just the big
Yeah.
top pros.
Well, I don't think you give yourself enough credit because I think you were the king of reviews at one point in your life. I mean, you put out so many reviews, and I remember, before we even had any connection, just watching those, being like, "All right, this is what I'm going to do," and just like stocking up on all this trilogy stuff.
Yeah, no,
you
no,
know,
thank you. I appreciate that.
uh,
Yeah, that was I love doing that when I was at Dynamic Disc as well. That was always a fun project. Is this
mhm.
right for you type reviews.
Right, right.
But as far as other things, I did make an announcement a few weeks ago. About the end of the Disc Golf Answer Man podcast. That podcast has been around since 2014. Me and Eric McCabe. I remember I had the idea with Eric McCabe. Said, "Hey, I'll be the host. I'll ask you questions that people send in, and you be the pro that answers the question." And of course, Eric McCabe's like, "Let's do it. Let's. I think it'd be
Mhm.
fun." And he wanted to support me helping grow Cool Daddy Slick Breeze. And I remember the first episode we had like 5 questions, and it just grew to where eventually, of course, I was working for Dynamic Discs. And we would get quite a few. Actually, for a while there, I think we had like 10 to 15,000 downloads a month. So it was really growing and doing really
That's
well.
great.
But as when I left Dynamic Discs, I kept the name Disc Golf Answer Man. That was my whole thing because I started it before Dynamic Discs, and I thought that's still my connection to the disc golf world. So I kept doing it. I got Robert McCall to get back on with me and Eric Oakley to get with me, and it was going really good. It was building. The audience kind of went. I had to rebuild the audience because I had to get rid of the feed from Dynamic Disc and start a brand new feed. So it was growing. But Rob McCall has. He moved on from disc golf. He got a brand new job that was taking up a lot of his time. Of course, he has his kids and his family, so he had to back away. And then, my thinking was, oh, I'll have Eric Oakley and Proctor and other pros on there, and they jumped in when they could. But I know these guys are on the road trying to make a living, trying to do their thing, and there was just times they couldn't be on the show, and so I found myself just like I felt weird just talking myself. I always like having banter with people, but so there'd be times where like, well, I'm not going to do one this week. Oh, I'll find someone to interview and I'll do it this week. Then somebody wouldn't be able to get on the show or they'd cancel. And I'm like, so I finally decided, you know what? I need to concentrate on Cool Daddy Disc Golf, concentrate on building class discs in the United States. I probably need to just say goodbye to Disc Golf Answer Man. And so I'd been thinking about that for months too. But finally, I can't remember if I was listening to a particular podcast from some other entrepreneur guy and they mentioned something. I was like, you know what? I think it's just time to just say goodbye to Disc Golf Answer Man. So yeah.
It
So
was
Disc Golf,
you and Elon Musk, man.
me and Elon, yeah. Yes, my new
Get
podcast
rid of Twitter,
is called
just X.
X. Actually, I'm gonna go one bigger Y.
Well, that's the next question after Disc Golf Answer Man. Why?
Why? So yeah. So have I totally ditched the podcast format? No, I love the podcast format, but I'm still trying to figure out now. I have been updating people on my progress with Cool Daddy Disc Golf and what's going on with the class. And I've had a few people reach out to me and say they appreciate it, they enjoy it. But I'm still trying to figure out an exact format of what I want it to be, but I definitely going to have, and it's going to come out as the Cool Daddy Disc Golf podcast. So I'm still going to do podcasts. We're just not going to do the Disc Golf Answer Man brand and the Disc Golf Answer Man format of people asking questions. So it was sad, but it also exciting in another way.
Right. Well, it's a new page, and then trying to figure out the new, because whether you like it or not, I mean that's what podcasts are. It's a marketing branch. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
So trying to figure out how you're going to appropriately, market whatever you're trying to market, obviously, but then also do it to where it's effective and meaningful and you actually give something of value to your audience. And so I know you'll do awesome with it. And I'm excited to see what it's going to be.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
I was going to say, after you, I think we mentioned this because we've had you a couple of times on before, like since you had moved on from Dynamic, but when you were doing the interviews before you actually got like the disc golf, like your new Disc Golf Answer Man feed, and you're kind of like interviewing different people around the disc golf community, I really appreciated that part because it kind of got us like focused, like, hey, we were going to kind of go that route and we ended up kind of doing almost kind of the same thing as other podcasts, like our format and stuff, but we made it our own. Like we've kind of gone. But I just really appreciated you reaching out to other people and like kind of putting them in the spotlight during, kind of get them going.
No, that's good. That's good. Actually, great feedback because that's one of the my scratch notes. That's one of the things of this could be an idea of because the whole thing was reaching out. I can't remember what the tagline was, but something to do with the people that are behind the scenes making disc golf what it is. Because we all know the players, we all know the big time players, and they have a huge part of it. But there's so much stuff going on behind the scenes that we just don't know about that people could find interesting. So that's good feedback. I appreciate that.
Another thing I kind of want to ask is that, even though Disc Golf Answer Man's kind of gone away, like you've created the community is still there. Like, and you're constantly asking, well, at least in class or on Disc Golf Answer Man, whatever, Cool Day Disc Golf now, you always ask, what are you learning? Or what's something we can learn together in the community? And I think that's a great way to get the participation from other people in the community. And you're helping grow that kind of aspect, like, okay, what can we learn? Like that way everybody's kind of like, yes, I can learn from this. I'm not just hearing from one people, but like everybody can kind of be like, oh, I'm on the same page as this person. I'm learning this at the same time. And that's just a cool way to do things.
No, yeah. In fact, I have a bunch of things. Yeah, you're talking about previously the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group, which is
Yeah.
now the Cool Daddy Disc Golf Facebook group. So it's got just under 11,000 members, and probably when I look at the stats, it says it's about 4 to 6,000 active people that actually look at stuff, click on things, and react and stuff. So it's still a very active group, and people can still join. But yes, that's always been my thing is information, learning, and bringing value, and that other people can bring value as to the whole, the hive, or whatever you want to call it, the community. And so, yeah, even in the questions when I invite people, hey, if you're tagged in this post, it means that you're a brand new member of the group. We want to learn this about you. What's your this? What's your favorite colors of this? What's your that? And I think and that kind of brings up another. I keep going on these tangents. Sorry, but that brings up another thing about because it made me think of a comment on Class This YouTube channel. I have little YouTube shorts where it has different people throwing. Eric Oakley, Erica Stinscombe, James Proctor. And Eric Oakley has a bunch of videos where he's throwing, it was like his first impressions of the Class Disc, right? And someone actually put a comment that said, Eric Oakley, question mark, when's the last major he won? That just bugs me so. And it also reminds me of when I worked at Dynamic Disc, there was a guy named A-Ray. Guy named A-Ray, right? Fantastic dude. This is the kind of guy you'd want in your corner no matter what was happening, because he would be there for you, right? Great guy. He wanted to teach putting. He said, Bobby, I got an idea, got a couple concepts. I want to do some video with putting. I was like, let's do it. So we did a putting video, put it on the Dynamic Disc YouTube channel. It did okay. It did okay because he didn't, it was just, I don't want to say just A-Ray, but it was A-Ray. He was, at the time, I think he was like in his 40s. And so he was, an older guy. But people were calling me like, what am I going to learn from this guy? And I'm like, if you think you can't learn something from somebody like that, then you've got it all wrong. You've got it on. And so even with Eric Oakley, has he won majors? No. Is he a great player? Yes. Is he a fantastic person? Yes. So if you immediately dismiss him because he hasn't won a major, then you've lost already. So that's kind of my concept with even the Facebook group is like, we all can learn together. Someone might say something, you go, wow, I hadn't thought about it that way. And that could help you learn. And I think that's where you grow as you learn and you become better and you work hard. Anyway, that's my little tangent. Sorry.
No, I get it. And to go back to Elon Musk, I don't know if you've ever seen that clip where he's like showing some little reporter, he has a podcast or something like that. But, in reality, nobody, he's showing him one of the rockets. And this dude just says, hey, why don't you do whatever it is? It was way over my head. And you can see him just stop, think about it. And then the next time he sees the guy and he's like, hey, you're the guy, we made that change. And he like 100% was learning from this dude that was just holding the mic in his face, and that's amazing to see how, I guess, the ignorance to what people have to offer. If you just take a step back and listen, you can take the good with the bad, and there's always something there, always. And I think, in business is where my mind always goes. We talk about reviews. So when TripAdvisor and like Facebook, they first started coming out and they were really started being relevant for, as far as reviews for businesses, we would really incentivize our staff that you never ask for reviews, but if you're mentioned in them, I'm going to make sure that we're going to reward you for them. And if we had any negative reviews, I would hang them up immediately and I would cross out everything except for the part that we could learn from. Because sometimes people are just like, this was horrible. And, the sun was too bright. And like, okay, we can't control any of that stuff, but your service was too slow, or our server never had a smile. He felt like we were burning it, whatever it was. And I would just make sure to highlight these things and make sure there's no names or anything. Just be like, look, we can do better. We're not good enough.
No. Yeah.
And, and it may be when you're talking to that person, it's so irrelevant, but man, you can pull something good out of anything that you're standing in front of, So it's just having that mentality of or that thirst, like you said, to always want to learn and be better. As
Yes.
soon as you shut that off, as soon as you think you're better than someone, you're done.
Yeah, you're done. You're done
Yeah,
growing, and if you're
exactly.
not growing, then you're going backwards. So
Right.
that's yeah. So
Everybody else is just passing you up. So,
mhm.
all right. Well, we've lectured enough. So let's.
I know, right?
So my question for you is making that change from, we'll just call it DeGam to Cool Daddy Slick or Cool Daddy Disc Golf.
Yeah.
In DeGam, you had a certain way that you built things while you were at DD. Are you using the same approach, or is it paralleling, or is it kind of like, that was kind of old news? I've learned, I have a base here, but this is what I'm, are you kind of being a little more innovative?
That's a great question. I would say, as far as, I mean, the whole point of Disc Golf Answering was to help people. It was to answer people's questions, to help them. And then on the marketing side, it would put us as an authority so that when people thought they want discs, they would buy them. Of course, before that, because we started, when we started, it was, had we started making discs yet in Dynamic Discs? I can't remember.
2012 was
the first one. So we had just kind of started, because 2014 would have been the first, when the first episodes were put out. But the whole thing at first was like, we'll talk about any disc. We don't care about talking about any disc, but it's going to be the emphasis on dynamic disc, and then of course eventually West Side and Latitude and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was to educate people, and for people to go, well, he just taught me about getting more distance, so now I'm going to go to him when it comes to buying that disc for distance.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, yes, that's the same approach, is that with Cool Daddy and things that I produce for Class Disc, is the same thing, is that I want to educate you so that I am an authority, and they want to come back and say, thank you for teaching me about this. Thank you for helping me learn. I'm going to pay you back by buying a Class Disc or checking out Class Disc. Now, as far as like, no, I mean, that kind of sums it up, is that I want to me, in my mind, it's like a value exchange, right? I give you value, and then you support me with your dollars, in a sense. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, anything else to add, sir, about your transition? And no, actually, yes, I have one more thing.
Yeah.
The logo on your
Yes,
hat
the logo
and your shirt. So
okay,
explain it.
All right. So it kind of I'm sure there's going to be some graphic designers or some people out there that are going to roll their eyes. So when I sometimes I can get impatient and make like super fast decisions, right? And actually, I found out, I listened to a podcast where a guy said, if you have it, too many people try to have it 80 to 100% figured out before make a decision. He was saying that if you've got it about 40% figured out, make the choice, and then know how to pivot if it's not working out. But just make the choice, right? Okay, so that being said, so when I was like with Clash, I was like, I really want to do this. I want to open a store. I want to do the wholesale. When it finally came, they're like, okay, Bobby, this is what we're going to do. These are your terms. This is how it's going to work. This is how you'll pay us and all that stuff. We're sending our discs to you. I was like, okay, I need a brand. I need a logo. And I was just like, so I went to Fiverr, and I said, this is what I need. I'm making a disc golf company, and this is whatever. And I had a bunch of offers and stuff like that. And I looked at a bunch of them. And like within 2 days, I decided on this one. It was just one I saw, and it just spoke to me. And the reason is because if you look at it, of course, again, you're gonna have to, maybe I have to post this so people can see the video. and I'm just realizing that the image I'm looking at is the mirror, and so it's confusing me. So
Yeah.
So the thing that looks like a disc is, in my mind, a disc heading towards something that's kind of it's not a basket, but it is a catching device. But what stood out to me is, and if you follow me or know me, you know I'm a man of faith. I thought of the Trinity. So there's 3 points to it. So of course, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I've always said on my Disc Golf Answer Man, I'm a man of faith. I believe I'm a believer. I'm not going to shove it down your throat, but I'm not going to deny it if you ask me. So that's what my logo is about. So it's a disc going into a catching device, but then it has 3 points that emphasize the Trinity to me. So that's what's behind the logo.
There you go. See, I like that even more now.
Yeah.
I'm glad that came through. So, do you know about Goliath discs?
No, great. Do they have the same logo?
No. Yeah, actually,
Did
it's
they go to
exactly the
Fiverr
same.
and go, this guy's making money, sending out the same
He's just like, what do you think of
logo.
this? People are like, great, sign me up. No, so they are a company, and who did they have their on another podcast? Who was a podcast that he had a conversation with?
Learn with me disc golf.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they had another conversation, but we sat across from them, a booth in Vegas, so they were right across the way. And you sat at the booth at Vegas, Bobby.
Yeah.
We were right across the way from them, but so they just started a disc brand, and it's like from scratch. They're not using any other manufacturer to manufacture. They're doing it all themselves in house.
Wow.
I think they have like 4 discs now, and all of them are biblically minded in their naming scheme. Everything.
I see it. I'm looking online. I looked at their stuff. Yeah, Genesis.
Yep. And they're very like their plastic names are like books of the Bible. Like it's really cool. And for me I don't know if JP and I have ever had conversations about this, but me, I'm also a person of faith. Obviously, you can always see my cross, and but it's neat to see it kind of in your face. And there's no shame in putting it out there.
Yeah.
And so it takes different, because I'm just like you. I'm not one to push something like that, but to see that in the disc golf, it's very brazen to a lot of people, because I don't think the disc golf community, I mean, I think it's larger than you think it is, but I don't think the disc golf community is ones that usually support in that regard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat to see a disc golf manufacturer just be like, we're taking the Hobby Lobby approach. Like,
Yeah, I like it.
We're going with it. We're taking the Chick-fil-A approach. So
that's hilarious.
yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah, good for them. I love it.
Yeah. So if you start up and you're doing any more of those, like behind the scenes things, maybe that might be a good one to talk to.
Yeah.
And very, very interesting guy too. Really neat guy. So, all right. Should we get into Idlewild?
Okay.
if you say so.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into my command.
So, I don't think we need to talk about anything or anybody else except for Paul Ulibarri. Everything else is irrelevant. We'll start off with that. Paul Ulibarri coming in 4th, killing it. So good for him. Happy for him.
Good for him.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's been having a pretty rough streak.
I didn't see him. Yeah. I mean, what was that? Knee injury? Is that what he had last season that he pulled out of? Kind of like the second half of the year. He was injured a little bit. I don't remember.
And he moved up 11 spots.
Oh, in the last
he tied for the hot round with Ricky and Nico, it looks like.
Yeah, so it looks like Gannon-Burr 1, Calvin Heimberg 2nd, Isaac Robinson 3rd, and then Paul tied 4th with Kyle Klein.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and he 11 spots. Wow.
Yeah, and he won up Kyle Klein on the last round, 13 under. Yeah, 13, and Nico too. I mean, comes through.
And Nico moved up 13 spots. Wow, a lot of big jumpers. Ricky Wysocki jumped up 29 spots. Man.
Ezra Robinson, 22 spots. Yeah.
What happened on the last day? They were like all out.
So yesterday, I believe
Nancy
there's a weather.
Oh, yeah, the weather.
Tanya Hardingham. People out there sitting in the bush, just whacking people's knees.
Yeah, there was kind of a weird. I remember getting a message or seeing an email where they were saying it was delayed.
I think I saw Casey White pulling up with 2 other people playing some Mario Kart under a shelter.
Yes,
he got the Switch out and was playing Mario Kart.
But didn't he have a TV there?
Yeah. Like a monitor, maybe like a TV or a computer monitor or something. Yeah. But I was watching highlights last night, and all of a sudden you're seeing discs flying through the dark. And I'm like, how can they see? How can you throw at like 8:30 at night watching these people glow around all of a sudden?
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I have learned from Idlewild this year is bring your glow discs and to add to your disc golf kit is a monitor. So so we have we'll go through it again one more time. So MPO Gannon Burr finishes around, and just so you know, no spoilers in live sports. So finishes around 32 under and takes it down. Calvin Heiberg right behind him at 30 under. And then Isaac Robinson, 28 under. And then Paul Euler, 26 under, tied with Kyle Klein. So
Nice.
Great job. I'm just so ecstatic to see Paul Euler's name at the top there. People just don't realize, and I think he's so old school. I mean, it's like Eric McCabe. People don't realize actually how good they are.
Oh, yeah.
And even still today. Yeah.
My earliest memory with Paul Macbeth and Paul Uleberry was when I very, very, very first started doing stuff in disc golf, and I was at the Oklahoma at the Green Country Open. This was 2009, and I was doing some photography stuff and a little bit of video, and I walked up to a hole, and these two kids came up to me. They're like, "Are you with like ESPN or PDGA?" I said, "No, I'm just kind of out doing my own thing for the tournament." And they're like, "Oh, that's cool." And it was Paul Uleberry and Paul Macbeth. That's
awesome.
That's kind of my earliest memory with them. Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Are you with ESPN? That's great. Who was the one that said that? Was that Paul that said Paul Uleberry?
I don't remember exactly which one. I just remember it being the two of them.
I feel like Uleberry's so open, and then Macbeth's so like stoic. Like he won't really talk to you until he knows you.
Yeah.
No.
I can just imagine them as juniors too, like.
Oh yeah, they were.
Maybe we'll
like
finally get some shine. You're playing disc golf.
Yeah.
What?
Pretty cool.
We'll get on the air.
Yeah, and then anytime I see I'm at a tournament, and I'll just hear a voice. I'll say, all of a sudden in the back, I'll hear, "That's one cool daddy," and I'll turn around and it'll be Uleberry with his fist out for a little fist bump. So he's a cool guy.
He is probably one of my favorite personalities in disc golf.
Yeah.
And I think his mentality too of trying to get back and coaching and being so real all the time. I mean, he's just like, I'm old, things hurt, I don't play as well as I used to, It's awesome.
Yeah, good for him.
Right. So on to the FPO. Valerie Mondahano, good for her, taking it down. Owen Scoggins right behind her. And I wouldn't have said anything different with that. Owen kind of turns it on towards this time of the tour. And then Holland Hanley, once again, looky, who's there. Taking it down, and then, in third, and then Missy Gannon and Madison Walker tied for fourth.
Madison was in the lead for a little while too. I think after the first day, and then she kind of had a rough second round, and then kind of held on to be on the chase card. So good for her. And Valerie Mondahano, obviously, she was away early in the year with her injury, and finally gets a win.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then you see Lucky up there too. I mean, you don't see Lucky up at the top of she's tied for sixth right now, so good for her. And then Cadence, sorry. She's fairly new to the tour this year, correct?
She was a junior world champion, I believe.
That's where I know her
she's a Discmania player.
Okay.
And yeah, she was on lead card. So
Speaking
don't
of
get to see her often, but she's pretty young. Yeah.
Was Ella here?
I thought
Yep, she was.
Yeah, 16th. She's 16th. I think one of the boys, I don't remember if it was Matt, maybe Matt picked her. I forgot. Someone had picked her, I thought, for picks last week.
Mm-hmm. And who had the 5-inch thorn through their foot?
That was Maria Oliva.
Did you see that, Bobby?
What? No.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a buckthorn thorn.
It was huge.
No joke, like that.
She just stepped right on it?
I guess so. Something.
Practice round.
Golly.
So she had to step out. She had to bail out of the tournament. So
yeah, I guess Luke Sampson carried her off the course in pouring rain to her van, and they went to the doctor, and they showed the thorn next to, I think, a soda can, a 12-ounce soda can.
Is it on her Instagram or something?
Yeah, it's on her Instagram. And I couldn't believe it. She said a thorn, and I was like, okay, whatever,
yeah, exactly.
Sliver. And then also you see it, and you're like, what?
I know that's what people I got to drop out because of a thorn. Really? And then you see the thorn, you're like, oh, really?
It looked like deer antlers. Like, that's what it looked like. The thorn looked like a deer antler almost.
It was huge. It was huge.
But did,
Yeah,
she must have just posted it to her story or something.
oh, maybe. I don't know.
did it get sent in our group? I think I'll text you, Bobby, with it.
Yeah, I might have. I
it was
think
sent in one of our
I think
groups.
Ben or Matt sent it in our group.
Yeah, it was good. So
Unreal.
while I'm doing that, let's start talking about DGLO. So DGLO is Discraft Great Lakes Open, and it is played at Toboggan. It is a fantastic course. I have had the pleasure of playing it once. I like to brag about it because it's really awesome. But the one thing that is even more awesomer, right? Is that how you say that?
Sure,
exactly.
more
right.
awesomer.
Yeah, that was perfect. All right, great. More awesomer is Bert Kreischer is going to be there. So the machine. So he will actually be on site for the weekend. I don't know. Is he playing or is he just there as kind of fanfare?
I didn't get the whole story. I heard that he was going to be there, but I wasn't sure if they were like giving him some kind of exemption where he could play in it or not. Do you guys follow Bear Bite Disc?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
He had massive forehand, like the big Annie, yeah.
So I just started following him maybe like a week or two ago, but he has been doing this thing where for like the past year he's been challenging Bert to like a one-on-one.
Yes, he's his like next day of
Yeah. And so I'm wondering if he'll actually make it to DGLO to meet up with him or whatever, just get something filmed. That would be pretty exciting.
Cool, yeah.
All right, I sent it to you, Bobby, so you can catch your grimace on camera here.
Good God. Oh my God.
That's a big thorn. I mean,
holy crap.
I don't know how that doesn't go all the way through your foot. Like, honestly, or like it's like Home Alone stepping on the nail.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay, a random off topic. I watched a video the other day of smart criminals versus Home Alone. It's so funny. They're like, oh, there's ice on this step. Be careful. And then they're like, this handle's hot. Oh, didn't you burn yourself? He goes, no, I just didn't hold on to it. It was fantastic. I was going through it like, oh, this is brilliant. Okay, back to DGLO. All right, DGLO. So we'll do our picks, and we'll do, Bobby, we do 1, 2, and 3. And if you want to throw in a honorable mention, you can. So we will start with FPO and I guess go from there. And then we'll go to MPO. And the notable mention is that the highest rated player is at DGLO in Manabu Kajiyama.
Am I starting?
Yeah. If you want
okay. Where did you find? I forgot to look up where.
I went to this PDJ's website. Yeah.
PDJ website for it.
Do you want me to send you a link real quick, and then JP can start?
Yeah.
Okay.
My bad.
That works. No
Sorry,
worries.
Bobby.
Wait, you said FPO? Okay.
Yeah.
So
my back does hurt a little bit from
third
carrying
place.
this thing, by the way.
I'm gonna.
Dang.
All right, go ahead. Sorry, JP.
Third place, I'm gonna pick Ella Hansen. Second place, I'm gonna pick Haley King, and then first place, I'm gonna pick Missy, Big Money Missy Gannon.
Man, no Holland Hanley after we just talked her up.
I know she's a friend of the show.
That is weak sauce.
But I know Missy plays well at Discraft events. It's hard for me not to pick Missy at something like this.
But it's not. All you got to do is instead of saying Missy, you go Holland. I mean, they're different letters, but it's not that hard.
No.
All right. I like the picks. I respect them. All right. I am going to start with Holland Hanley. I'm taking second. I'm going to go Ella Hansen in third. And then, this is hard. You know what? I'm going to kind of put a dark horse in my number one. I'm going to put Haley King at top.
Really?
She's pretty close to home. Yeah. And I feel like I don't know. I don't know what I feel like. I just feel like she's going to win. So there you go.
All right. So you said first, second, and third.
Yep. First, second, and third. Or second, third, and first.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Third place is gonna be Holland Hanley.
Good choices.
You
didn't feel pressured to do that, did you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
By the way, Holland, if you're not happy with where you're at, give me a call. Clash this. I'm just saying.
The shout out. We'll clip that. We'll send it to her.
He did only sign a 1-year deal with Discraft, so
see.
Class, this is up and coming. I'm gonna go with a odd choice. Well, no, that's not an odd choice. I think Cat Mertz is gonna make another splash. I'm gonna put it out there.
Nice.
That was my debate between Haley King and Cat Mertz. So
yeah,
good choice.
I think Cat Mertz is due back to be in the limelight. And then I'm gonna say first place. I think see, maybe the odds are. I was thinking Owen will take it again. Will win it again.
You gotta have some distance out there, though.
Yeah.
I know. Well, what did she get last year? She got second place last year.
Okay.
Not far under Natalie Ryan, because Natalie won't be out there this year because of all the stuff that's going on, right?
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with she's gonna win it. So first Owen, second Cat, third Holland.
All right. I like it. And you won't be here to defend yourself, so we'll make fun of you if your picks are real bad.
Yeah, you can do. I'll do a special episode on that just in case. So
it does say Natalie Ryan is registered.
Is in the field.
Yeah.
So this is that PDGA. What do they call it? The
United
Tour.
That's right.
Yes.
So this will be one of those. So she has like double point earning United and Disc Golf Pro Tour. So she will be there.
So I'm thinking that Natalie Ryan, I think from strictly the stress of what's going on, whether you agree with it or not, that's not what I'm debating here. What I'm debating is the stress of it is going to be probably too much where she's not going to make a stand here or a show here. That's strictly on a play thing.
Because there is going to be an all eyes on me situation with her, whether it is or isn't. That's the pressure she's going to feel. So I feel that.
All right. So even though I'm saying that because even though Natalie won it last year.
So Sai Ananda is going to be my watch out.
That's who I was going to pick.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Too slow.
Too slow. Too slow.
Not Sai Ananda, you guys.
Okay.
She is actually. Have you ever met Sai?
No, never.
But she has a fantastic personality.
She is just as delightful off camera as she is on camera.
Yeah,
she's.
Nice.
I worked with her a little bit because she was Lat 64 before Westside Disc, so it's just a little bit, not a whole lot. And then what was the event that she won?
Texas States.
Texas States. Yep.
Or is it something else that you're thinking of?
I don't remember. I think she won it. Yeah, because the event before it, I had driven out there to do some work with Oakley, Proctor, and Erica. And I was following Scott Withers, and she happened to play with the group that we were playing. And the guys were like, she is good. She's throwing smooth. She's got a great putt. And a couple of throws, she was like doing better, hitting the fairways better than some of the dudes I'm not trying to compare, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, right?
That's all right.
She was hitting the fairways with a more accuracy than some of these guys that were trying to get the big distance, right? So she was doing some smart plays. Anyway, why I bring that up is because the next weekend she won, and I remember going out to that event and saying, guys, do you remember us talking about Sai? And she went on, they were like, yes. And she went on to win. So anyway, that was kind of a neat little
She has a really good interview with Andrew Fish on his Fish podcast or whatever.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was good.
I could see that. Yeah, she's a great person.
She, like, if there was a picture or something to define theater club. You're like, sigh. Like, perfect. And just phenomenal, like, seems super genuine and everything, but like, that's what I get, like, theater, like, perfect. Every time I see her on camera, like, just her bubbly, like, it was like Cat Merch. Cat Merch has that same, like, look at the frog, like, you're just like, you're playing disc golf, right? Just like, nope.
That's awesome.
I'm looking at a frog. So, all right.
I'm going to take Paige Shue as my...
I literally just looked at her name on the PDJ site.
Under the radar pick.
Okay, so that's a brave pick. Why? Give me some... I love Paige Shue. I think she's phenomenal.
I know.
I want her to do so much better than she's doing.
I just generally like, same thing. Like, I just generally love her personality. And I think she's good. And I think she's just... I just want to see her do well. And so I think over time with the amount of... Because I know her and Grady have kind of been doing the flip-flopping, playing tournaments. I haven't seen Grady play or seen his name too much, but hopefully I just reps and getting into the groove, after being away for a while, that it kind of clicks. I think this is a decent course for her to do that. And just building up to that, Smugs run where she won the world championship. I'm hoping that she kind of catches fire, and
that would be neat to see her just come out of nowhere and take it down again. Can I do an honorable mention of this gray hair that's in my nose? That
did you say honorable mention?
Yeah.
Trim that, Shane.
I try, man.
Yeah.
It's being old, it's weird.
So, my dark horse, if I'm ready for me to do my...
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, at first I was going to pick Valerie. I mean, she's just coming off the win. But I almost feel like I don't know too many people that have done really well in an event and then still do well at the very next event. As far as these people. Now, of course, a lot of the top people are usually in the top. In the top, but someone like Valerie, who's still kind of, I mean, she's been playing disc golf for quite a few years, but she's still, as far as the top circuit, she's getting out there and getting some experience. So I don't know that, in other words, I don't know if she can maintain. So I don't think I'm going to pick that, even though I was going to. My dark horse, surprisingly, is going to be Sarah Hokum. I'm going to go with dark horse, Sarah Hokum.
Yeah.
All right. I wonder if Jen Allen, because if Jen Allen can pull it all together, man, she's such a dangerous player. Okay. All right. We'll get into MPO. Do one of you want to volunteer to go first, or you want me to? Okay, I'll do it.
I'm still pulling up the page.
Yeah, point taken. Okay. I am going to take in third Simon Lizotte. I'm going to take in second Isaac Robinson. And to take it down, I am going to try to will this to happen is Calvin Heimberg. So, and then my honorable mention, because I want to see him do good, and I don't want people to keep saying he's washed up, is Paul McBeth.
He's proved he's not washed up.
Yeah.
He had a good run in Europe.
What was your picks again?
So I have Lizotte, Isaac Robinson, and then to take it down, Calvin Heimberg.
So you went 3-2-1?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm glad I went that way because I wouldn't remember my picks if I started at 2 where I normally start.
I guess I'll go next.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
For third place, I'm going to take Calvin Heimberg. Second place, I'm going to take Eagle.
Really?
Yes, Eagle plays well here.
But he has no forehand still.
Yeah, I'll gamble.
You know, it's funny. We say he has no forehand.
It's so
still
weird.
throws like 350.
Yeah. Right.
Isn't it weird though to to be like really on an eagle pick because
Yeah.
but it's like lately he just hasn't had it, and he's got the injuries and everything going on. He just
Right.
yeah.
I want to see him back on top. I mean, last year I would have said that there is nobody that's going to be any better than Eagle McMahon, and then he
Yeah.
dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of mental that he's dealing with right now. I don't know if I'm sure it's physical as well, but I think primarily mental. I mean,
Well, that's the physical messes with your head
sure.
because he probably thinks the same thing.
Yeah.
If he heard me go, huh? He'd probably go, yeah, huh?
Yeah,
What's going on with me right now? So,
And then first I'm going to take Isaac Robinson. And then for my dark horse, I'm going to take James Proctor. James has been playing well all season.
He has been playing well. He's had some.
Yeah.
He's had some bad events,
but like when he plays well, he plays well.
He plays well, and then for someone who like jumped back into the circuit full time, he's doing really well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think he was 5th in points last time I saw. I don't remember if that's
I haven't
correct.
looked at that.
I think so.
All right, I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go. Wysocki 3, Heimberg 2, and then I think it's going to be. I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to say Kyle Klein's going to win it.
Yeah,
it's good.
Michigan boy.
I can see Kyle Klein doing good out there. My dark horse, I'll say Andrew Marweed.
Ooh.
Doesn't Joel Freeman usually put up some heaters on this? I know Ben's going to hate this when I say it, but doesn't Joel Freeman put up some heaters on this course?
I think he played pretty well last year, I think.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But I've seen Kyle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this year, too. There's been so many unique winners on the MPO side of things where it's like, it's good. There's a good mix. Like you never know who's. Calvin's been the one consistent. Obviously, Gannon with having 5 wins, he's been up there. But it's always anybody's got a chance any given week. That's how it feels
isn't there like 9 unique winners this year alone? And there's like 7 that have never won a Pro Tour event. Is there something weird like that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it was some crazy.
Look at somebody like Parker Welk coming out of like winning TGO. Like that's definitely unique.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about all. I'd see Silas Schultz name here, and I just want to say he's one of my favorite personalities as far as his like. Have you ever heard his like when he does his like putting or driving, and he just keeps his mic in while he's doing all that stuff, and he lets it flow, like lets his thoughts flow. It is hilarious. He is so funny.
Really?
So yeah, really, really good personality. And I think he did some stuff with like Eagles Wings or something he was doing.
Yeah, I think so.
He does quite a bit of stuff with that too. So
nice.
Okay, with that being said, we'll insert Bobby for Ben and say, what is your random question, sir?
All
and
right.
I gave him no holds barred, just like Ben.
Is there no intro music for this? Like a little
Well,
I might be able to like come up with something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do we have built in here?
So you said you said it doesn't have doesn't have to be disc golf related, right?
Nothing. Nope.
All right. What's a hobby or an activity that you've always wanted to pick up but never had the chance, and why does that interest you?
Easy. Trampolining.
What?
Ooh.
Absolutely.
I didn't know trampolining was. I didn't know it was an a verb.
It's in the Olympics.
Is it trampolining?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's called trampolining, but absolutely, because I figure that is my only chance to ever be an Olympic athlete. Because I can bounce. I can bounce. I know I can bounce.
It'd be like having gummy berry juice. You just
exactly.
So, what would we call you? A trampoliner?
A trampolinist?
I
like that better. Trampolinist is what it is, I think. But the real reason I want is because I get to wear those really tight like uniforms. That's really, got to show off his body. Especially while I'm jumping. Probably a really bad idea, actually.
I think, yeah, I think you'd find any reason to wear some little tidy tights.
Well, but the thing is, like most sports, like if I was like a loser, like you get inside something, so then the grace isn't like I'm not exposing my amazing
Yeah.
body, but trampolining, like you get to see it in its glory. I mean, it's
Trampolining. That's awesome.
so there you go. That's mine.
Hmm.
But unreal. Like I feel like that would be really fun if I was like you could just like you think you go in someone's backyard and you're like, oh, you got a trampoline there. Let me see if I can just get on it real quick and just like flip it everywhere. Like, tell me that wouldn't be cool.
Trampoline's fun. We used to have one in our backyard, and I've taken a few naps. It's just so comfortable taking a on a nice fall afternoons. Take naps. The funniest thing on a trampoline though is I've seen videos of bulldogs on a trampoline. They'll start bouncing and then it goes out of control and they're like trying to they're rolling everywhere trying to stand up straight. That's hilarious. I love it.
All right. Who's next? JP. Well, I guess JP's next.
Sure. I think ice carving would be kind of fun. They got, you go to these, it's crazy what they can do. They make hotels completely out of ice now, like up in like Iceland or like those colder countries. But there's Sturgeon Bay, city close to us, has this festival called Fire and Ice, and every year, it's people out there carving with chainsaws or using flames to like melt ice in certain ways. And I just think it looks really cool, like watching the ice fly off the chainsaw and like the stuff that you can do. Or you go to weddings and you're like, oh, that's a really cool swan, and the swan's got like water going down its back or whatever, and like I just think it's cool what you can do with. It's amazing how you can form
that's cool. Yeah,
things,
that's cool.
along with like wood carving, that kind of stuff. Like I just think that's really
that's cool. Cool.
Yeah,
like anything with a chainsaw, I feel like would be really pretty cool.
I know, right?
Well, Bobby, you got to answer your own question, sir.
Oh, I got to answer my own question. I've wanted to do jujitsu.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a hobby. It's an activity, but I've always just heard that it's a great workout. I've always heard that it's great and it's of course one of the martial arts, which is a very structured skill to attain, and so that's has always interested me. And no, it's not because of Joe Rogan. So back off.
It's Ben Askren, that's why.
Yeah. No, it's just always the intensity of it, and it sort of reminds me of kind of some of the stuff we learned in Marine Corps boot camp, and so that intensity of it. And sometimes I think it's important to kind of get beat up a little bit and to beat up on somebody else a little bit. So I think it'd be kind of fun to do. I don't know how many times I've talked to guys and almost went out and tried it, but then I never have. So. Yeah.
Fun fact: Tom Hardy, jiu-jitsu world champion.
Really?
Yeah. I saw a video of him. Like, there's some people. I forgot. I don't know if it's world champion, but he's a champion of something in jiu-jitsu. The actor Tom Hardy. Yeah. And people were like watching him and everything. Like, is that really Tom Hardy? And yeah, like he got his hand raised to win some kind of championship. And I could see that, as an actor, going through and like trying to learn as much to like protect yourself,
right?
Like from injury and whatever, but also to gain a skill that can help you down the way.
Yeah.
That's
cool. That's interesting. I didn't know that about him.
That's it's one of those disciplines that has always scared me, and it's funny because I freestyle and Greco-Roman in high school, and attempted to wrestle in college, but for some reason, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu just scares me, and I don't know what it is about it, but there's just something like I don't want to get on the mat with somebody that knows that.
Was it watching early MMA, like early Ultimate Fighter?
Some of the great, some of the old school Gracie fights and stuff. I remember watching UFC 1, 2, 3, some of the older ones. I don't watch it anymore, but I remember watching these guys just get mutilated. I mean, joints popping out. That's not me. Because I have really bad shoulders and I've dislocated joints before, and not my style. Just the thought of it. Ugh. So, all right. Well, with the shop updates. Go to DoorDish.com and you'll find right on our front page, we have all of our featured stuff, and anything new comes in, that's where we throw it. But I'm going to give this section to Bobby because I know you wanted to talk about some of the stuff that may be coming out here real soon. Or today, this week, this year. Wait, there you go. This year. Some of the new stuff from Clash. There you go.
Well, okay, so yeah, some of the new stuff from Clash. So we put out a bunch of molds this year, and that was just they just wanted the demand had been there that people were like the names they seen the commercials and like we want more. So it's like we just were they were at the factory going, we've got some ideas for molds, let's go ahead and put them together. Some of them took a lot longer. I have to tell you what, the Lotus, which is a great disc, worked with Nate Perkins to do that, like much like we did the Spice with Eric Oakley. But the Lotus, I believe, took about 8 iterations before it finally came out. It just kept getting. We'd have it, Nate would say I wanted to do this, and then they would try it, and it just wouldn't work with the size, just different, different things.
You can
And
definitely tell that with the special blend and like the retooled one that has been released. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, so they came out with a bunch of different molds, and so now it's time to slow down and time to kind of start marketing a lot of these molds. But there are a few that's been out there that some ambassadors or some players have gotten in the mail from Finland, and that's the people that keep asking me on Instagram is the candy, the cherry, and the sage. And there was one called Chili, but they gave up on the name Chili because the way they didn't realize that it's in Finland, it's more like a soup rather than like for us, chili, we think of usually like a meaty, hearty meal, right? But to them, it's a soup. And so that's actually one of the things, like they get name ideas and they want it to make sense in America and the US, but they also need it to make sense in Finland because they still have a good following in Finland. And some of the names that sound normal to us do not translate well in Finnish. So anyway, so if you've ever seen the chili, that's not a thing anymore. At least not for now. It's not. But the candy was a disc they actually produced quite a bit with it, but it was a collaboration. There's the guy that I talked to, my rep. I call him a rep, but he works for Class. Is Randy, and his Finnish name is actually Rauli Savela, and he is well-known commentator for Disc Golf Finland YouTube channel, very much to what Jomez is to the U.S. disc golfers, Disc Golf Finland is to Finland disc golf, and he's a commentator on there, very well-known. And so he and his co-host did a collaboration, and they made the candy, had a special stamp. It was only supposed to be a Finnish release. Well, a bunch of people saw the specs for it, and like, we want this, we need this. And so we're debating on when to release that. Are we going to release that this year? Are we going to wait? And some of the ideas, kind of a quick tease here, is that it'll be part of a holiday box. So that's kind of like, exclusive news for the Night Owl podcast.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, I know it's not a big deal, but it'll be
Sound the horns.
Yeah. So now again, these are just ideas we're talking about.
Yeah.
It may change completely, and so don't come, with your pitchforks at me if it doesn't happen. But that's kind of the idea right now, is that the candy will be a special release that we put into a holiday box. We were actually thinking one of the things we were gonna do was we were gonna do some sort of special stamp in some box, and it was gonna be get your vanilla with a cherry on top. Get some vanilla with cherry on top, or some kind of dessert type thing. But we kind of nixed that idea. So, anyways, that's kind of as far as the cherry and the sage. They're still perfecting it, getting it just right, and still kind of thinking when strategically is it great, because there's what's happening is, which is great, is that the growth is happening so much that it's like we want some new molds, but man, we still got to print out these salts, so we got to still print out these sodas and vanillas. We got to keep up with the demand. So it's keeping up with demand for the molds that people want that are already out there, and then there is that demand of what's the newest thing you got from for us and stuff like that. So it's kind of a mix of that. I know a lot of questions that people ask is about team stuff. We're evaluating what we're going to do in 2024. I don't know that we'll explode as far as the team, but that we understand the mutual partnership between people out there that want to be ambassadors or different levels of team. That's something we're looking at. Another thing we're looking at is having some sort of like a 2-disc challenge or some sort of how do we get someone like Shane to say, hey, I want to order 50 of these one discs at it's a special disc, it's a special plastic, and then he sells them as little player packs, and that way people can try the new disc or even try class that never tried it. These ideas are it's like one of those things, that saying of they're simple, but they're not easy to execute. There's so much to that. So we're trying to take it slow and make sure we do it the right way. But that's something definitely look forward to in 2024, is some kind of challenge setup where you can do that. And so I'm excited about trying to put that project together.
Cool.
Didn't I send you a name? I felt like it was like the most brilliant name I ever sent to anybody.
You did
ever.
send me something.
And I can't remember what it was. Now I was so proud of it. Now I can't even remember what it was for the 2-disc or trilogy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like naming a disc or something.
Oh, here it is. So, Test Kitchen.
Test Kitchen. Yeah, that's over.
I found it. All rights reserved.
You'll get first dibs if that's the name we go with.
Perfect.
Bobby, if you had to, I'm sure you have numbers for like discs. What are the top like 3 sellers for Cool Daddy Disc Golf? Like, what 3 discs are flying off the shelves?
Vanilla, Wild Honey's still very popular, and right now, I'd say it's a tie between the Lotus and the Cinnamon. And I say a tie because the Cinnamon is newer, and so people want to try the new thing. Yeah. But I think the Lotus is one of those that was very popular at the beginning, and then as more people are discovering it, they're like, "Oh, okay, I want the Lotus." Now I know that like some of the other bigger stores like Power Grip, the Peach was up there, and the Wild Honey still. The Wild Honey, I'm telling you, if you're anywhere from a casual to even an advanced player could find a use for it. The Wild Honey is such a good disc. So yeah, that continues to be popular. And yeah.
All right. And we have all those discs at doordisc.com.
There you go.
So there you go. And also at CoolDaddySlickBreeze.com or
CoolDaddyDiscGolf.com. Yes, if you cannot go to doordisc.com first. If they don't happen to have the color that you want, come on over. Like I said, like the retail side of the things that I'm doing is just kind of like a good thing to have. I want to have that experience. I want to see what I want. It's almost like data research for me. In other words, I want to see what moves, what people say, what people think. But the big thing for me is going to be the wholesale side. I want to be the guy that Shane goes to, that all these stores go to help them move their class discs. So check out doordisc.com first. If they ain't got it, check me out and I'll help you.
Perfect. Anything inspirational to leave us on, Bobby? Because I always end us on a good one. So.
Oh God, another one you're springing on me.
Well, no, it just has to be one. Yeah.
Well, let's see. We'll talk. Can it be really like motivational, inspirational, or learning from, or what?
I'll tell you that what I leave it on is a quote that I learned from JP here. So
this is not where I thought it was going.
It is very appropriate, and everybody does it. So that's usually what I end on. So I'll just say it. I usually end on deuces in the toilet. So.
Okay, mine's like my mind went totally different direction.
We're good with that.
Deuces on the toilet.
No, in the toilet, not on it. That's the wrong one.
Yeah, maybe let's clarify.
See, that's why this is very important.
Well, no, okay. So I'm just very much I listen to all kinds of motivational podcasts, all kinds of entrepreneur stuff. That's the stuff that just gets me going, is just learning to be a better version of myself. And I'll just tell you something that I posted yesterday that's still on my mind that I'm currently learning and putting into practice. It's 2 things: is that growth happens in the struggles and not when it's easy. And that's really happening for me with this. There are times, like I do, I'm going to keep it real. This starting over with a company from the beginning and just putting all my eggs in this basket is scary. It's scary for me. Um, I dropped clients that I was helping so that I could concentrate on class disc and Cool Daddy disc golf. And so, but I'm learning so much more. I'm doing uh uh even though there's a certain aspects that I did with dynamic disc, there's a whole nother set of things that I never did. I only heard about, made some decisions about, was part of, but never really had to be the guy that said, okay, this is the choice we're making and this is what we're going with.
Mhm.
And I'm learning so much. And then the other thing that I'm learning is that delayed gratification is not as satisfying, but a necessity to reach goals that matter. And that that's something as well. It's like, I want this to be a success now. I want this to be where I have a 1-year plan, 3-year plan, 10-year plan. I want it to be the 10-year plan now.
Mhm.
But I've got to learn that delayed gratification, because the success comes in the mundane, the boring everyday stuff. I tend to live for the moments. We always say, live for the big moments. Well, sure, the big moments are great, but then those moments go away, and it's those boring, everyday little things that you have to do that create those bigger moments. And man, I'm having to really work on that, with that, even on a personal thing. And I'll talk. I've been doing this challenge, the 75 hard challenge. I'm day 12 or 13 into it, right? And just today, I was at the gym doing leg day, and I'm just like, man, I look in the mirror and I'm like, man, there's nothing happening yet. And I think, okay, delayed gratification, delayed gratification. I
Mhm.
put the boring work in now, even though it's a Sunday. I'd rather be home chilling, watching some Netflix show. I'm at the gym doing what I need to do, the boring, consistent stuff, and that delayed gratification, because I know at the end it's gonna work out, and I'm going to see results in the end. I may not see it now,
Mhm.
but I'm going to see results in the end. So that's kind of, maybe that's my lessons from Uncle Bobby Jr.
There you go. I like that it's from Uncle Bobby Jr. too. Oh, thanks, Unc.
Thanks, Uncle Bobby.
JP, anything for us?
No, my words of wisdom I've already passed on, Shane.
He has.
See,
They hit me deep too.
Yeah.
They really stuck with me.
what was it? What was it? I gotta know.
The deuces in the
deuces in the toilet. Hey, yeah, not on the toilet, in the
Yeah.
toilet.
Shane picked it up, and that was it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's something. That's something else. That's cool.
Yeah. But with all of that, appreciate you guys. And make sure you check out our, little sibling, the Casual Relief Podcast. They get to talk a lot more local, a lot more centralized, just Wisconsin disc golf, but also they just get to talk about just random disc golf stuff. They don't keep it very, topical and current. Just so check them out. And then I think outside of that, make sure you keep it subpar, and peace.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. See you, JP. Oh,
Bye.
actually, I do see you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.